All right, so Tom Segura was just on Joe Rogan's podcast, and the comments did not disappoint. I mean, that's always the best part of Tom Segura's appearances, just reading the Pores comments. Because aside from that, of course the actual episodes are just really boring. Like, the only entertaining part from this one was when they roasted Bert Kreischer, which was pretty funny. But the rest of the episode was just kind of the usual. I think they spent probably 45 minutes to an hour talking about cars, really expensive cars, which was boring, unless you're reading the comments at the same time. That actually made it hilarious.
Is that a 765?
I don't know what it is. I don't know anything about McLarens, but it's fucking so dope.
Rad. I've driven a lot of the lineup. I've driven the 600 LT.
How come you never got one?
I don't know. I should get one. I just drove the new 750S.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
But they're making cars that just a rich knucklehead can buy that has the most insane speed and power.
I've driven, like I said, a lot of the lineup. When I drove the 765 LT, I remember talking to, at the time, he was with McLaren in F1, Daniel Ricciardo.
Like, you don't buy one of those unless you really want to get rich.
Yeah. And you also want everyone to know how fucking rich you are.
You want everyone to know how rich, and you're rich right now enough. I don't have a $4 million car. I wouldn't drive that. I'd be freaked out. I can't drive. I can't park it anywhere. What am I going to do? That's crazy.
It's insane.
So that means he's got way more money than me. It's like, how much money you get? How much money you making? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing that you're driving a $4 million car? If you're not interested in money, you get a Mercedes. You get a nice S-Class, and people get mad at you. You really want people to not get mad at you? Get a Lexus. Get an LS 500, cruise around in style.
Yeah.
No one's going to get mad at you.
So the funniest part of this podcast was definitely just reading the comments. The Pores are now much funnier than the comedians. And Tom actually addressed the Pores recently because Bert brought up how he likes reading mean comments when they're not his, obviously. Like, he said he follows an Instagram page that just posts negative comments, and he'll send them to Tom once in a while because Tom enjoys it too. At least they can admit that mean comments are funny. But then Tom starts talking about his comment section and how it's still all just the Pores complaining.
I've been sending you clips of my favorite accounts on the internet or on Instagram are hateful comment sections.
Oh my God.
The comment sections where if it was you, it would hurt so bad. Right. But when it's not you, it's hysterical.
I have so much disdain come at me from people with little to no means. And it's just like a constant fucking barrage of just like, I'm so poor, I can't relate to anything you say. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know what to tell you. I donate to charities. Like, something positive has to come out of this, but it's constant. It's constant.
So it seems like the Pores are getting him, but at least he could say he has one of the funniest comment sections. I mean, even Bert, it sounds like, gets a kick out of it. He of course reads Tom's, but not his own.
We used to be good during the pandemic when Tom was fat, and then Tom lost weight and got disconnected from our fans.
Yeah,
it's just fucking...
Now calls them the Pores.
Yeah. He calls them the Pores. He does call them the Pores.
And also, it sounds like Bert tries to give Tom some advice on it, which he's probably not the best one to be doing that. But last time they're on Rogan, he was telling him, like, maybe you should care a little more about it. But of course, Rogan, he doesn't really seem to help at all. He kind of just tells him the opposite. And he's like, who cares what they have to say? They're a bunch of losers. He has more of Tom's approach.
Tom, I really read your comments. You do not give a fuck. You do not give a fuck.
You give the perfect amount of fucks.
Yeah.
I think it's like a balance.
No.
It's the right balance.
No, it's detrimental.
To what?
To him.
How so?
Why? If I read his comments, I'd be like, start giving a fuck.
Yeah, but who's writing those comments? You can't read comments.
I do.
The people that are writing them, you're getting a disproportionate amount of failures.
But it sounds like Tom is starting to care and is reading them, or maybe he just assumes they're still all just the same. But it seems like he's trying to find some way to move past it. He's looking to make amends with the Pores. We'll see if that ever happens. So also during the most recent episode, like I said in the beginning, they're making fun of Bert. And Joe actually brought up that picture that Bert posted of himself where he's breaking down crying after dropping his daughter off at school. If you remember, I talked about it in a video last week. And I said that people should be making fun of him for posting a picture like that. And Rogan seems to agree. And he said even Bert's daughters will make fun of him for crying too much.
It's just... I've heard it's insane. Bert, what did Bert go to see there? The Dead?
He's seen a few there. He saw the...
Of course he has.
He's
I gotta go.
He saw the Dead, and he saw he went to the U2 show when they were there too.
Oh wow!
He said, "Yeah, he's like, I cried so much."
Of course,
yeah. I'm like, yeah,
emotional.
Of course. Yeah, I cried the whole time.
Your liver's failing.
My daughters were making fun of me. I'm like, yeah,
they should.
Yeah,
they should mock you. He doesn't just cry. He likes to take photos of him crying and then post it on Instagram. I'm so sad. My daughter went to college. Look, is this one good? How many did he take before he picked that one?
He's a fucking mess when I saw him.
Of course.
So it's awesome that even Rogan's talking about how ridiculous he is, you know, because some of Bert's other friends, like Whitney Cummings and Joe Coy and Patton Oswalt, they all went along with it and just acted like it was something normal. You know, like people always just post pictures of themselves breaking down crying on Instagram. So thankfully Joe had a more appropriate reaction to this. And then also he started asking Tom about how Bert's doing in terms of the drinking. And Tom said he's in the middle of a bender, which I think he's probably been in the middle of ever since they started Por Osos. Because before that, I think he was sober for a little. Like, he definitely looked healthier. But now with Por Osos, like, starting an alcohol brand with him, obviously that's just going to cause Bert to go crazy with the drinking. And Tom even tells a story about them being at a Por Osos event and Bert getting completely wasted.
How's he doing these days? He benders, he goes off, he goes on.
Yeah, he
cleaned up for a little while and he went right back in.
He's on a Bert cycle. Yeah, he was real clean, and then my favorite, he was like, we were somewhere in Vegas, and somebody was like, you know, do you want this? He's like, can't, I'm hardcore keto. And I was like, okay. And then we go to this. I'm like, okay.
That's like the way you said, we twisted your head. That's such a hardcore keto.
Hardcore keto. And then we go to this bar, and we're pouring drinks, Por Osos drinks, you know, we're like our brand, and it's like tons of people, and it's a very fun thing. Everyone's out and getting bottles and drinks, and we're signing things, and of course, like, you know,
he's throwing them back.
And at one point, you know, he's standing there shirtless, and he goes, I'm absolutely fucking shit faced. I go, yeah, I can tell. And so I go, hey, you know, some time passes. I go, you want to get out of here? He's like, yeah. I go, okay, we're going to go this way out of this place. And here's the exit. And he's like, okay. So I turn this way, say something, then I go, ready? He goes, I'm going to fucking stay. And I go, okay, I'll see you later, man. So
really,
I leave. I get the fuck out of there. And then I run into him later. I'm like, how was it? He was like, dude, I was so hammered. I go, yeah, I know. He goes, yeah, I got back and I ate a dozen donuts. And I was like, I go, what happened to hardcore keto? He goes, well, I just ate the tops. And I go, that's not how keto
That's
works.
even worse.
Yeah.
That's where the frosting is. You fucking, what are you talking about?
He's a lunatic.
Oh, my God. He's still alive. Mm-hmm. I wonder how long you can do that for.
I mean,
how long can you do that for?
My other favorite phrase, he's like, I quit drinking. I go, when? He goes, Wednesday. And I'm like, but it's fucking Friday. He's like, I know, but it's like 48 hours, nothing. I'm like, that's not.
That's a normal person.
That's not how that term works. And he's like, but so he'll get to a certain point here where he'll be like, I got to clean it up. And he'll just like really clean it up, you know, like won't drink for a while, clean up the diet. You'll see him just like thin out.
He takes a picture on Instagram.
Takes a good picture.
Sucks his gut in.
Sexy picture.
This is me now.
And then you'll be like, oh, you're
3 weeks
good.
later, huge.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
3 weeks later, I see him waddle through the fucking green room at the mothership. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? The fuck are you doing?
I know.
He goes hard.
He goes hard, dude. He goes hard. I've been going hard with eating just super clean, man.
Yeah, and the contrast between Bert and Tom is so funny. You know, they're talking about Bert's going hard with the drinking, and then Tom's like, yeah, and I'm going hard with the clean diet. So Bert and Tom are like the opposite when it comes to their health and drinking. And Tom's talked about how much he hates being around drunk people, especially drunk Bert Kreischer. So he must hate doing those Por Osos events. Like, Bert also in the past has offered him to do the Fully Loaded tour a bunch of times, and Tom's always turned it down because it sounds like it's just torture to him. So starting a vodka brand with Bert was a bold move for him, but he obviously should have known what he was getting himself into. So also during this podcast, they talked about doing another Sober October because they didn't do one last year, but I think Joe's probably worried about Bert again. So it sounds like he wants to try to do it.
Do you think we can get Bert to go sober for a month again? Because last year he was excited to not do it.
I don't want to speak for him, but no.
Maybe he could use it though, right?
I don't know.
Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for him.
No, it's never the worst thing for any of us to take a month off. It's what kind of challenge is it for each person, you know?
Well, it's easy for me, but for Bert, it's a big ass deal.
Yeah, it tests his will for sure, and
will to live,
cleans him up. I think he also kind of gets off on the challenge of it
Yeah.
because so many people are like, you're gonna struggle this, like, or, you know, online, and
it sounds like Tom doesn't really care that much about it. Like, he doesn't really care enough to try to convince Bert. So it'd probably just all be up to Joe. And I think him making fun of Bert might be part of his strategy. And, you know, because hearing Joe, a friend of his who has one of the biggest platforms in the world, publicly call him out on his podcast has got to be tough for Bert to hear. And like Tom was saying at the end there, he needs a challenge. You know, if people are making fun of him and saying he can't do it, then it's going to motivate him a little bit. So then Joe saying that, it should motivate him even more, but I guess we'll see. And also during this podcast, Joe and Tom are laughing at how delusional Bert is.
I think that
Well, Bert's another one that has that delusional, I can't lose.
he is. I remember, what was the one that I was like, what are you doing? When he was like, I could do the splits. I was like, no, you can't. I think I can. I was like, you're going to fucking tear your hamstrings.
When he told me he could, I really believed for a second he could. I was like, really? Wow.
Yeah. I know, because it also is one of those things that Bert could like, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities. It's
Right.
Like, oh, you have this secret skill? You can also do this?
Right, like when he played tennis. And he
Yeah,
found
yeah.
out he could serve like a fucking pro.
I know. He has all these like weird, like hidden skills. you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
I really believed that he could do the splits.
Yeah.
But he couldn't even come close. It wasn't even in the neighborhood where you did a split once in your life and you got to get it back. You know, like maybe
Yeah.
you did it when you're in high school and you can kind of get back there.
Yeah.
And Joe's much better at bringing Bert back down to reality than Tom is. I mean, Tom usually just kind of goes along with whatever Bert's saying. He never really calls him out too much. But Joe, of course, doesn't really have the patience for it. And for the past couple of years, whenever Bert's on his podcast and he says something delusional, Joe will call him out on it. But that's about it for this video. If you want extra content, though, make sure you check out my Patreon account. I talk a lot about Kill Tony over there and everything going on in that universe, and just a ton of other stuff. I post a new video every week that's around 20 to 30 minutes, and there are already over 90 videos on there. So there's a lot of content to go through. If you're a fan of the channel, want to help support it, make sure you check it out. I'll put a link in the description.